Allah Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah Ba'ashim Wakwa Hakwadash.
Call Allah Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah Malakah.
Talapanya. Alrighty, I know there's a lot of brothers and sisters out there that's going to celebrate this on 4th of July today, the 4th of July.
That's right.
Okay, because it's a lie. This is not our customs, this is not our traditions. Let's get that Mark chapter 7 verse 9, huh?
This is the book of Mark, chapter 7 and verse 9. And he said unto them, full well ye reject the commandment of Yahweh, that ye may keep your own tradition.
Right, so we reject the commandments of Yahweh. You can read that in Exodus chapter 20, verses 1 on down. The Most High Yahweh give you commandments that we're supposed to keep. But the Most High say we reject them to hold our own traditions. Okay, and what tradition is that? We don't know.
For Moses said, honor thy father and thy mother, and whoso curseth father or mother, let him die the death.
Right, so this is one of the commandments we're supposed to keep right here. You know what I'm saying? We're supposed to honor our mother and father. Not with no Mother's Day, but by showing them honor and respect. Okay? So this is the definition of tradition. Tradition is the transmission of customs or beliefs from generation to generation, or the fact of being passed on in this way. Okay, that's what 4th of July is. It's a tradition that's been passed down. Okay, this tradition came from what the hell is that guy's name? I'm sorry, Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson himself said as much in his account of the Declaration of Independence, the clause 2 reprobating the enslaving the inhabitants of Southwest Africa transatlantic slave trade was stuck out in complaisance to South Carolina and Georgia, who had never attempted to restrain the importation of slaves and who, on the contrary, still wish to continue it. See that? They still wish to continue slavery. Okay? This is where the Declaration, the 4th of July came from. Okay? This guy Jefferson. Alright? Yeah, Matthew chapter 15 and verse 1 and 9.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 15, verse 1. Then came to Yahushua scribes and Pharisees, which were of Jerusalem, saying, why do the disciples transgress the tradition of the elders? For they wash not their hands when they eat bread. But he answered and said unto them, why do ye also transgress the commandments of Yahweh by your tradition?
Right, so again, we transgressing the commandments of Yahweh by keeping these traditions. Okay, on 4th of July 1776, the Declaration of Independence was signed, marking the colonists' independence from Great Britain. But 75 years later, some black Americans weren't ready to celebrate. Abolitionist movement leader Frederick Douglass gave a scathing speech the day after Independence Day in 1852 saying, this 4th of July is yours, talking about so-called white Americans, not mine. You may rejoice, I must mourn. Right? Because our people was going through slavery in 1776. Our people was getting killed, raped, and fleeing for freedom. Okay, that's why this tradition is not ours. But you still have sisters and brothers out there that wear a damn flag, okay, of the United States of America. Okay, that flag is an idol. That's what they worshiping. You see what I'm saying? We don't worship no damn flag. The Most High gave us laws to keep. Alright? Even Frederick Douglass was telling you. Alright? Let's get Mark chapter 7 and verse 1.
This is the book of Mark, chapter 7 and verse 1. Then came together unto him the Pharisees and certain of the scribes, which came from Jerusalem.
Right, so the Pharisees and the scribes, they ain't nothing but hypocrites, man. Okay, that's all they are. So that's what all y'all that's celebrating this 4th of July crap, y'all hypocrites, man. Because y'all full well rejecting the commandments of Yahweh. You say you love God, you know what I'm saying, you honor him with your mouth, but here it is, you in idolatry, celebrating this man-made holiday, this man-made tradition. You're a Pharisee. You know not.
Verse 2, and when they saw some of his disciples eat bread with defiled, this is to say, with unwashed hands, they found fault. For the Pharisees and all the Jews, except they wash their hands off, eat not, holding the tradition of the elders.
Right, so they hold the tradition of the elders, man. To eat with unwashed hands doesn't make you unclean, okay? This is what the Pharisees and them held, okay? Read on that.
And when they came from the market, except they eat not, and many other things there be, which they have received to hold, as the washing of cups and pots, brazen vessels, and of tables. Then the Pharisees and scribes asked him, Why walk not thy disciples according to the tradition of the elders?
See that? The tradition of the elders, man. This is the tradition of man. All right, this is not the tradition or our customs of the Most High, our heritage that the Most High gave us. Matter of fact, hold that. Go get what's that? Psalm 147 and 19, I believe it is. He gave Israel laws.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 147 and verse 19. He showeth his word unto Jacob.
Right, he showeth his word unto Jacob. That's the so-called Negroes. He gave us the word. These law, statutes, and commandments.
His statutes and his judgments unto Israel.
His statutes and the judgments unto who?
Israel.
To Israel. Okay, this is our tradition right here. This is our customs. This is what we supposed to keep.
He have not dealt so with any nation.
Right, he ain't dealt so with any other nation, man. Because the other nations are heathens, man. But guess what? We became heathens because we rejected the laws. Because you can read in Hosea when it says he called the people low aiming. All right, he said that we were not his people, okay, because we was doing the customs of the other nations, just like we doing now. You see what I'm saying? Celebrating 4th of July. That's the customs of the other nations. Okay, this 4th of July was made United States 1941. Matter of fact, let me read this. It said the 4th of July, also known as Independence Day or July 4th, has been a federal holiday in the United States since 1941. But the tradition of Independence Day celebration goes back to the 18th century and the American Revolution. On July the 2nd, 1776, the Continental Congress voted favor of independence, and 2 days later, delegates from the 13 colonies adopted the Declaration of Independence, a historic document drafted by Thomas Jefferson from 1776 to the present day. This is a tradition that so-called white man has set up, and you Negroes out there celebrating this garbage, man. This holiday is not for you. You know what I'm saying? Y'all should know this by now. It's too much knowledge and understanding out here to get for you to keep on celebrating it, man. What is that? A tradition is a transmission of customs or beliefs from generation to generations, or facts being passed on in this way, okay? So that's how Jefferson passed this tradition down, all right? And now you so-called Negroes is out here celebrating this garbage, man. A tradition made by a man, all right? This custom was never meant for us. Let me get that. I think it's that book, How White Folks Got Rich, on page 94 and page 96. Because they talking about the Declaration of Independence. Okay, this Declaration of Independence, even though the so-called white man himself don't even follow his own constitution, okay, he's contrary to his own constitutional laws. Okay, read that up.
Prison industry.
Matter of fact, page, start off, read that yellow part first.
Just as the convict leasing prison system was a boon to industrialists and state governments in the Jim Crow era.
Right, this is the Jim Crow era, man. It said it was a boom industrialist. They was making mad money in those times.
Today's prisons are a prime source of cheap labor.
Right, so today's prison is a prime source of cheap labor. Okay, you go to jail, they make license plates. You know what I'm saying? You pay at the DMV, you gonna pay some money, $50. I think now, how much it is for a license plate?
Yeah,
about that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and in there, that's free labor. They making them license plates, and they'll pay them probably a dollar a penny. You know what I'm saying? On every license plate they make. This is the cheap labor. Okay, this is the modern day slavery. Okay, it never stopped. All right, read on that.
Cheap labor for corporations and state and federal governments, which operate the correctional system as a continuation of slavery.
See, this is a continuation of slavery.
From the time of emancipation, when those corporate contractors were established in the 1890s, the prison population of whites stayed constant, while the black prison population grew by 900%. Blacks had gone from being slaves on the plantation to being slaves of the state.
To being what?
Slaves of the state.
See that? You ain't a slave on the plantation no more. Guess who you a slave to now? You a slave to the state.
In fact, it is the 13th Amendment, presumably used to free blacks from slavery, that permits re-enslavement through incarceration.
See that? See that? And back in the day, you get a slave on the plantation. Now you got a new form of slavery. It's called what? What did I say?
Re-enslavement through incarceration.
Right. So re-enslavement through incarceration. That means you going to jail. Okay. This is the 13th Amendment. Okay. Ain't nothing really changed from the 13th Amendment. It's just the trickery of words.
That's
Just
right.
blowing that up.
That's it.
Okay, it was just the trickery on words. Go to page 94. It's the trickery on words, man. That 13th Amendment still stand just like it did before, man. Cause you Negro, you so-called Negroes and Latinos and Native Americans of Negro descent, y'all go to jail at a higher rate than the so-called white man. Y'all get charged, and you'll do 5 or 10 years for a crime. And the so-called white man, he probably get a year or probation. You know what I'm saying? For the same crime that you committed. Okay? So that's how you know this Constitution is not for you. Okay? This 13th Amendment is not for you, man. Okay? You see George Floyd. You see what I'm saying? And they choked that brother out, man. They choked that brother out with the knee. Okay? But look at Dylan Roof. Okay? This damn devil, this Edomite killed 9 so-called black people in the Christian church, right? Ain't no power in that damn church, is it? Huh? See how the Most High let them come in there? Because they ain't keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. But this so-called white man wiped out all these Negroes. And guess what? This brother got took in with peace. He got took in with peace, man. But old George Floyd, he had what was he had? Counterfeit money? This brother ends up dead, man. You see how this system is not for us? You read that one about the systematic. Oh shoot. Here, I'm gonna get it. I got it in here. This system is not for you, man.
Persecution is a systematic mistreatment of an individual or group by another individual or group.
Right. So in this case, it's the so-called white man, all right, oppressing you so-called Negroes, man. Read that again up.
Persecution is the systematic mistreatment of an individual or group by another individual or group. The most common forms are religious persecution, racism, and political persecution.
Right. So guess what? It says, read that again.
The most common forms are religious persecution.
Right. So religious persecution. Guess what? We gonna get persecuted for this word. You know what I'm saying? You get persecuted from your family members. You know what I'm saying? Hold that right there. We're gonna come at that. Get that in 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 12. We getting persecuted by our family members for these laws. Okay. And the government, they also persecute you. Okay. They see it strange because you live in a certain way or keeping the laws. You know what I'm saying? They want to dictate your life, okay? They want this new world order crap, okay? This one nation, according to their beliefs. You know what I'm saying? Not the beliefs of the Most High, but of their doctrine, okay?
The book of 2 Timothy, chapter 3 and verse 2.
12.
Oh, sorry.
Shalaki.
Verse 12. Yeah, and all that will live godly in Hamashiach Yahushua shall suffer persecution.
See that? All that live godly shall suffer persecution. Okay? I done been suffer persecution, man, because of what I believe, because I believe in what the Bible say. You know what I'm saying? I got persecuted. Now was it on that up? In verse read it 14.
Alright, verse 13. But evil men and seducers shall wax worse.
Right, so evil men and seducers, people that seduce you, that's that temptation. They gonna wax worse. All right, you can see it. You can see it in the world right now. Wickedness, man. It's just they getting worse and worse, man. this sin and wickedness is just piling up.
And worse, deceiving and being deceived. But continue thou in the things which thou hast learned and hast been assured of.
Right, so we got to continue the things that we learned. We got to continue repentance, man, keeping these laws and not going back to sin. All right, read that again, that part again.
But continue thou in the things which thou hast learned and hast been assured of, knowing of whom thou hast learned them.
Right, 13 again, there was something in there.
Verse 13, but evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived.
Right, and being deceived. Okay, y'all being deceived right now with this false philosophy, with this false doctrine, with these damn traditions that is not for you. Okay, you're being deceived. Read on that.
But continue thou in the things which thou hast learned and hast been assured of.
Right, so we got to continue the things that we learn, man. That's keeping these laws, okay? All right, so look, abolish. Abolish is formally put an end to a system, right? That read that again, not that we had in there. It's abolish means to put an end to a system or a practice or institution. Okay, when you look at the abolition of slavery, okay, so that's what it's supposed to have done. Put an end to the system, practice, or institution. But look, this system is still here. We just read the 13th Amendment. Thing you try to set your foot on and try to do is against you. You got to have permits in order to do certain things. You know what I'm saying? The credit. You know what I'm saying? That credit ain't for you. You know what I'm talking about? How come this credit is so readily available for the so-called white man? You can go back to the curses in Deuteronomy chapter 28, where it says, "You shall be the tail, and he gonna be the head." You know what I'm saying? The so-called white man is the head, man, and we the tail, man. He said he's gonna lend, and we gonna be the borrowers, man. These curses is on us, okay? This white supremacist, this damn constitutional laws is not for you, okay? The so-called white man don't even uphold his constitutional laws, man. Them constitutional laws is like a Bible to them, but they don't even live by it. Just like Christians, you know what I'm saying? They up in the church hooping and hollering, but they don't read nothing the Bible say. They want to hear what the damn pastor got to say. You know what I'm saying? That pastor ain't doing them but telling you lies. He's singing you back to sleep. All he wants is the damn money out your pocket. Read that again, huh?
Persecution is the systematic mistreatment of an individual or group by another individual or group.
Right. So-called white man is oppressing us, man. Okay, this is the true racism, man. So-called black man can't be racist. Okay, we ain't oppressing no people. You know what I'm saying? We ain't out there killing people. All right, and getting off, getting a pat in the hand, getting a damn paid vacation, man. It's basically what it is when they shooting you so-called Negroes down in the street. You know what I'm saying? You got to go out in the street and protest and scream, no justice, no peace. Right. You don't see the so-called white man in the street screaming no justice, no peace, do you? Because they getting their justice and they living in peace. But you so-called Negroes ain't. You got to come out these customs of this 4th of July garbage. That's right. You got to give it up, man. It's not of God. It's not our tradition. It's not our custom. Read that up.
The most common forms are religious persecution.
And religious persecution, man. Okay? Religious is to do something repetitively, something that you really believe in, all right? So we believe in these laws. We do this repetitively. You understand? We got to be diligent in it, all right? So they're against our religion. They're against our politics, all right? Read on that.
Racism and political persecution.
See? And racism, man. Racism. We can't be racist, man. Read on.
Though there is naturally some overlap between these terms, the inflicting of suffering, harassment, imprisonment, internment, fear, or pain.
See that? That's what you so-called Negroes going through right now, man. We've been inflicted. We're suffering. We're getting put in the prison system. Hold that. Go to Isaiah 42 and 22, I believe. Isaiah 42 and 22. We've been afflicted right now. See, this is what happened when the Most High say, if you don't obey my laws. We got to obey his laws. What's wrong with obeying the laws?
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 42 and verse 22. But this is a people robbed and spoiled. Right,
we're robbed, man. We're robbed of our heritage. We're robbed of our land, okay? And we're spoiled, man. Our women getting raped. You know what I'm saying? Casualties of war, man. They're making you a concubine. You understand? You got concubines today, willing concubines, because y'all go to the so-called white man, okay, for his assistance, because he got money. You forget in Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68, it says bond men and bond women. We came over here on ships together. Okay, this is a struggle that we got to go through together. Okay, don't cower out and go to your enemy. You know what I'm saying?
They are all of them snared in holes, and they are hid in prison houses.
And they are what?
Hid in prison houses.
You hear that? It said they are hid in prison houses, man. This systematic slavery, okay? This Amendment 13. You are hid in prison houses, man. You so-called Negroes go to prison at a higher rate than what the so-called white man do. Okay, y'all get charged more. Go out there and scream and protest that. That's no justice and no peace.
That's right.
It's thousands of niggas in the jail right now and thousands of women. Okay, that's a small number I'm using. It's way larger than that. But you see it every day. You can go on YouTube, man, and it's stories on CNN, all that. How it's always a black man in jail for a crime he didn't commit. He's an innocent man sitting in the damn jail cell, man. 25 years he done, and now they done found some damn they found some that he was innocent. Okay, and he don't get no reward for 25 years of his life, man. They
are for a prey.
Right, they are for a prey, man.
And none deliver.
Don't nobody deliver us, man. The only person that's gonna deliver us is Yahweh, Yahweh Shah. Okay, that's the true name that y'all continue to keep calling y'all calling Jesus Christ, man. That's not his name, man. That letter J, throw that garbage away, man. That's a pagan letter. It's made up. How you praying to something made up? You know what I'm saying? You got IUIC out here. You know what I'm talking about? They want to go against the name. We keep the laws and we keep the name. Okay? The Bible was translated from the ancient Hebrew. How the hell you going to be a Hebrew and not read the Hebrew? That's ignorance, man. Read on, huh?
For a spoil, and none saith restore.
Right. None say restore, man. They ain't going to restore us for nothing, man. You know why? Because we keep breaking the laws. We keep breaking it. You keep on living in sin, doing what the hell you want to do, man.
Verse 23. Who among you will give ear to this?
Right. Who gonna listen to this, man? Who among y'all out there watching this video? Who gonna give ear to this? Listen to the Most High. This is him talking to you.
Who will hearken?
Who gonna hearken? I mean, who gonna listen?
And hear for the time to come.
I'm telling you, man, it's time to wake up. It's time to come out of this 4th of July garbage. Okay? Where is it at in the Bible? Where in the scripture where it says thou shalt celebrate 4th of July?
Go pop some fireworks.
Right. Go pop some damn fireworks. Matter of fact, let's read that. We're talking about pop off some damn fireworks.
Festivals including concerts, bonfires, parades, and the firing of cannons.
And the firing of cannons. You hear that? They doing festivals, just like you so-called Negroes out here doing now on the 4th of July, today. You know what I'm saying? I hate this day. Because I know that's what y'all out there doing. Bombing this garbage off. Ain't got nothing to do with you.
And muskets usually accompanied the first public readings of the Declaration of Independence, beginning immediately after this adoption.
Right. You see that? It's talking about the Declaration of Independence. That ain't even for you. You in the street. No justice, no peace. You ain't gonna never get no justice and no peace unless you come back to these laws.
That's right.
Only you 2/3 out there gonna get dealt with. Okay? You want to be a 1/3, you want to be the 144,000, repent and keep these laws, man. It's for only Israel, though. Because all you other nations, y'all going into slavery, man. It's only fair. We paying for the sins of our forefathers, so guess what? You're going to have to pay for the sins of your forefathers.
That's right. Philadelphia held the first annual commemoration of independence on July 4th, 1777.
See that? Y'all do the commemoration of 4th of July. But and it's in 1 Corinthians where it said we're supposed to do a commemoration of Hamashiach Yahweh Shah. You know what I'm saying? We're supposed to take unleavened bread. You know what I'm saying? Sip some wine. You understand? And memories of the Most High, man. Members of Yahweh Shah. That's what we need to be doing. Now that this 4th of July, y'all want to do everything but celebrate the Most High's laws, man. He got Sabbath days for us to celebrate.
That's right.
Okay, Day of Atonement coming up in September. Huh? That's a whole set apart day. That's a Kodash day, a holy day. But y'all gonna skip past that though. You gonna skip all the way past that, and you gonna go straight to Wicked Halloween and Samhain. Y'all gonna have that Halloween up in the church. Y'all worshiping the devil in your so-called church, cause the Most High Yahweh ain't dwelling in there, man. He dwell in us. Was that enough? Matter of fact, read that part right there. Yeah.
In the pre-revolutionary years, colonists had held annual celebrations of the king's birthday.
Of the king's birthday, annual celebrations,
which traditionally included ringing bells, bonfires, processions, and speech making. By contrast, during the summer of 1776, some colonists celebrated the birth of independence by holding mock funerals for King George III.
Right. So for King George III, they on some celebrating birthday crap. Damn, that's another idolatrous garbage that's attached to this 4th of July. Okay. It's time for us to come out these wicked ass customs, man. It's time for us to keep these laws and endure in this word. Let me get out of Hebrews chapter 12 and verses 1 to 4. It's time to get this garbage up, man. And that what don't they sing that Star Spangled Banner or whatever that crap is? Mm-hmm. They sing that garbage, okay? That we gonna get in there. Let's get this real quick, bro. Hebrews 12, 1 to 4.
This is the book of Hebrews, chapter 12 and verse 1. Wherefore, seeing we also are compassed about with so great a cloud of witness, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which doth so easily beset us.
Right. So the cloud of witnesses is the angels, man. You know what I'm saying? The Most High got angels. They give them the court, a record, an account of your behavior right now in the heavens. Okay, read it.
And let us run with patience.
So we got to run with patience, man. We got to be humble. We got to meet. Let us run with patience, man. Because you can't rush nothing, man. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, the Most High showing patience because He don't want us to perish, man. He want us all to come to repentance.
The race that is set before us.
Right. It's a race set before us, man. We in the race right now.
Looking unto Yahweh, the author and the finisher of our faith.
Right. He's the finisher. That's why I say in the Greek, the Alpha and the Omega. He's the beginning and the end, man. He's the finisher of all this.
So like looking unto Yahweh, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross.
Right, he endured the cross, man. He endured the affliction. Okay, that's what we got to do, man. We got to endure this word. All right?
Despising the shame.
Despising the shame, man. You know what I'm saying? Repentance, a radical change, man. To show sorrow, man. We supposed to be sad, man, and mourning, man. Thinking about the old sins we did, man. You got to feel so sorrow for that, man. That's a wicked act we used to commit, man.
And is set down at the right hand of the throne of the Most High.
Right. And that's what happened. That's what Hamashiach Yahweh, he on the right hand on the throne of Yahweh, man. Because he kept these laws. He endured what he had to go through. So that's what we got to do. We got to endure this. Now back to this old 4th of July crap. You know what I'm saying? What's his name? Francis Scott Key. Read that up.
Francis Scott Key, author of the Star Spangled Banner lyrics, was himself a slave owner and a hardcore white supremacist.
He was a what?
A hardcore white supremacist.
And he was a slave owner. He was a slave owner and a hardcore white supremacist, man. So next time you so-called niggas want to get up there and sing that Star Spangled Banner, think about that right there. Who made it? And you up there singing and pouring your heart out with all your emotions and feelings, singing this garbage. The Most High say he hates your songs. You know what I'm saying? That's a heathen song anyway.
The reference to the hireling and the slaves is to those, including former slaves, who were fighting on the side of the British. The sublets point out further, New England did not want the war of 1812. The Southerners did. They got what they wanted. Under cover of war with Britain, a substantial chunk of the Deep South was made safe for plantation slavery when Andrew Jackson vanquished the Creek Nation and took its land.
Right. And so it also mentioned the 13 colonies in there. See, they even stole that. You got to do your research and history on that. That's for another class, though, about the 13 colonies. The so-called Negroes was rulers of that. They was the first of the 13 colonies. The British, the Welsh, the Germans, and all them, they stole that. We was the British, the Welsh, and the Germans. You know, not Germans, but the British, the Welsh, the Scots, and the Irish. Okay, that was our we called that there. But I ain't gonna go into that right now. But that's for another class, like I said. What else we had on that? We got to come out of these customs, man, these traditions, man. This theology of so-called white man. All right. We already read on. Oh yeah, Ecclesiastes chapter 9, verse 8. And I know it's gonna be some Negroes out there in some damn 4th of July clothes. You're gonna have a Jezebel out there twerking, shaking her ass with the United States flag on her behind, a bra and some panties on out there. And you're gonna have a nigga out there with some shorts on, and he gonna have his 4th of July matching suit. Come on, man. Those are wicked garments, man. You gotta come out of them wicked ass garments, man. Come out of these wicked ass traditions. The custom of the so-called white man, you got to come out of them, man. The hell with 4th of July, man. 4th of July.
What was the chapter?
Ecclesiastes chapter 9, verse 8.
Let thy garments be always white.
Right, so let your garments be always white, man. We got to be continuously in this word and keeping these laws, statutes, commandments. That's the only way your garment's going to stay white.
And let thy head lack no ointment.
Right, don't let your head lack no ointment because it's going to go dry, man. Keep that scalp oil. You know what I'm saying? That righteousness. You understand? Keeping these laws, man.
That's right.
Isaiah 64:6. Come out them wicked garments, man. Take them clothes off, man. Get you some fringes on your shirts, on your ribbon of blue. That's our heritage. That's our customs. We royalty. Let's dress like the Most High Yahweh want us to dress. Let's not dress like the customs of these nations, man.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 64 and verse 6. But we are all as an unclean thing, and all our righteousness are as filthy rags, and we all do fade. And we all do fade as a leaf, and our iniquities, like the wind, have taken us away.
Right. So is that it on that? I'll read that again now.
But we are all as an unclean thing, and all our righteousness are as filthy rags.
Right. You know what? All our righteousness is filthy rags, man. Because nobody want to be diligent in this truth, man, and keeping these laws, man. You just fade away. You know, you're just like a ship in a storm. You waving, you driven back and forth in all these doctrines, man. Read on.
And we all do fade as a leaf, in our iniquities like the wind.
He says in our iniquities, we fade in our iniquities, man. That's your wrongdoing. That's the sin.
And our iniquities like the wind have taken us away.
Right. Don't let the wind take you away, man. Let's keep these laws, man. Let's be diligent in this truth. Let's get a couple more, then we're going to wrap this up. 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 5. We got to be diligent in this truth.
This is the book of 1 Peter chapter 1 and verse 5. Who are kept by the power of Yahweh through faith unto salvation, ready to be revealed in the last time. Wherein ye greatly rejoice, though now for a season, if ye need be, ye are in heaviness through manifold temptations.
Right. Was that the one I wanted? That's 1 Peter 1 and 5. Read that again from the top.
Who are kept by the power of Yahweh through faith unto salvation, ready to be revealed in the last time.
Nah, that ain't the one I wanted. I'm Shalakia. Sorry about that. I think it might have been Proverbs 4 and 23.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 4 and verse 23. Keep thy heart with all diligence.
Right. So keep your heart with all. That's the one I was looking for. Keep your heart with all diligence, meaning your mind with all diligence.
For out of it are the issues of life.
Right. That's the issues of life, man. That's the issues of life. Whether you're gonna be wicked or you're gonna be good. The only way to life is being good, keeping these laws. So we got to be diligent. Got to be steadfast. You got to go through persecution, and most importantly, you got to endure all of that. All right. With that, shalom.
Shalom.